Hello everyone. Hello and welcome to another Prismata News and Game Dev Insights show. I am your host Elliot Grant, founder of Lunark Studios, and today I want to talk about a recent update to the Prismata software. I will show it to you right now. It doesn't look much different, but we have a new feature in the campaign tab. You'll find this thing called the Quickfire Tutorial, which we just added. It is a new way for players to get into Prismata who don't want to play the campaign. And we found that like a common quit point for players was they'd play the first few missions, maybe 2, 3, 4 of them, and then just be like, I don't like the story, the game's not interesting yet, you know, it's a free-to-play game, I'm just going to go play something else, and then they never come back to Prismata. And in particular, players who play games like, I don't know, Dota, Auto Chess, these types of online competitive games that don't have a single-player component, they're very used to just, like, kind of installing the game, jumping straight in, getting their ass whooped, and figuring it out as they go. With a minimal to small tutorial or a help page or a guide or, you know, not much in the way of a long extended single-player campaign to get them into the game. So Quickfire Tutorial is aimed to replicate that experience for a new player. And in fact, when you make an account, now there's a pop-up that comes up. I can show it to you, in fact. That will ask you whether you... Well, I guess I'm not doing that. Okay. Whatever. I'll just show it to you. We'll leave it in the video. It'll be funny. There's a pop-up that asks you whether you want to start with the campaign or start with the Quickfire Tutorial. And so this is the Quickfire Tutorial. It is a rapidly accelerated version of everything that's taught in the first chapter of the campaign and then some. So it contains all the sort of regular old tutorial prompts. It contains sort of simplified information about build time. You have confirm phase right away. The enemy starts attacking you right away. You don't have to play any missions where you're like just defending or just buying things. You know, so this is not for the faint of heart, right? This is going to throw a lot of the game's complexities at you very rapidly, but it's something we find that a lot of advanced strategy game players or card game players are used to and are in fact ready for. So here it talks about defense phase, doesn't mention absorb or optimal blocking yet. It's just like basically click one of your blockers, they glow. We made their health stand out more because we found some players couldn't even see the health and couldn't notice what it was because the glow on the card was actually sort of masking out the health icon a little bit. So that's been changed. And that's not just in tutorial, that's in all of Prismata. As usual, it gives you the tips, like if you try and end your turn without spending all your resources, all those sorts of things are there. This is the turn where we introduce the idea that walls heal up, and, you know, the absorb appears. All kinds of infographics. And then here's where we basically just tell you, okay, you should absorb optimally, right? And in fact, no matter how many engineers you lost in previous turns, you will still have enough remaining here to be able to do this. Like, you start with 4 engineers. You know, pop-ups come up for Drake and other units. The mission, of course, is very easy. Like, the enemy just has 1 Gunbot Forge, and that's not really enough to pose any threat to you. But it is enough that you feel a little bit threatened, and you can't just sit there doing nothing. So tutorials come up when you get breach, when you breach the enemy. In fact, if you get breached, there is also a similar tutorial that comes up. If you ever enter overkill mode, there is a new tutorial that appears once for every Prismata player, and you'll see it if you play any old game. And then there's a part 2. And part 2 is basically dumping you in a much more sophisticated scenario where you have a lot of workers and there's just all kinds of stuff to build. New units available. We give you Condiment and Animus right away because if you're going straight to multiplayer or bot play, you need to know about the Conduit and Animus. So you got enough workers that you can sort of buy everything. You can save up for the Centurion. You can get the Sinestra. You know, these are sort of easy units, but they're units that we feel beginners should be able to get their hands on right away. We introduce supplies right away. in the part 2. Let's see. And you can just buy whatever. Again, the enemy is not that threatening. They have 2 gunbot forges now, so you have to pay a little bit more attention. We introduce Q there, which is something that everybody says should be taught in the game very early. We introduce gold estimate right away, which is something that everybody wants to see right away. And the same thing appears that does in like mission 5 of the campaign, where it asks you whether or not you want to complete it. We don't introduce Q defense. We let people find out about that one on their own. And the reason is because it's actually good to play without it for a little while, because it forces you to think about how to defend correctly, and that's a skill we feel is very important when you're starting to learn Prismata. But anyways, that's the quickfire tutorial. Ugh, yeah. It's a little bit obnoxious about making you spend your money. I think if you play enough turns, it eventually stops. We could make it stop sooner. I don't know. But anyway, so that's all brand new. If you notice any bugs in it, please report them, and we will fix it. But it's intended to be a new feature for new players who are more advanced and don't care for the campaign and want to skip straight to the action. It also, when you complete it, it immediately unlocks combat scenarios and casual match. So you could start playing against bots or start playing sort of the harder puzzly content. Rather than having to go through all those single-player missions, which introduce stuff at a more gradual pace. We do have new stuff coming, so Chapter 4 is, I would call it in a state of, the missions are all done. We're still adding a couple of optional objectives. The hard versions of all the missions are all done. The casual, easy versions of all the missions are all done. Most of the art is in. We still have to like add sound effects for a couple of units. And the biggest thing that's not done is still a lot of the storyline and cutscene stuff, which just takes forever and is a lot of work. So I think it will probably be out in September. That is a guess and a goal and not a promise, but I think it will be out in September. At the very least, we should have a version that people can play test this month. Almost certainly. The other thing we've been thinking about is adding a battle pass, which has been requested by a lot of players, and is something that we've actually thought could be a very good way to help generate a bit more revenue from players who are multiplayer users of the game, who have been playing for a long time but don't really like the gambling or the card flipping mini games, or you know, just buying shards to spend on skins or something like that. Battle Pass is sort of a more fun way to acquire new units and rare skins and stuff like that through gameplay goals, and it would be purchased via shards, and it would probably be something around the order of like a 2,000 shard purchase for a battle pass. Basically, it's the number of shards you get when you buy engineer tier. So if you get engineer tier, you get battle pass for free, and it's also like once you start the game and go through all the onboarding and the road to glory, you actually get enough free shards that you can basically get most of it. So we don't want it to be a thing that players have to spend a lot of money on. But if you want to like purchase levels in the battle pass, there will be that, and you know, so that's what we're thinking about, and I'm sort of announcing it now before we've even done the full design of the thing. Just because I don't want people to get mad later and say, oh, I spent all my shards, you know. So if you want to start saving up for it, save up now. I don't know when it'll come out. I may just work on the battle pass on stream for a while, and people can get some opportunity to comment on it and give their recommendations. Of course, there will be some new skins, new emotes, stuff like that. We've had sort of a backlog of new skins that we've been either working on or have made or whatever, and that we haven't released yet, and we've been waiting for a good opportunity to do so, and so Battle Pass probably represents that. So there will be some new high-tier skins. You know, will they be exclusive to the Battle Pass? All those types of questions, I'm going to defer the answer for now because we haven't even really decided yet. It's mostly just something we've talked about, and after looking at what the competition is doing and, you know, what players seem to enjoy in these types of games, we think Battle Pass seems like a really good idea. And it's also not very much work, given that we already have Road to Glory and we already have achievements. So we have ways of counting up like what you do in-game and ways of giving awards to people. So in fact, much of the code that we would need to write to implement a battle pass has already in fact been implemented in other parts of Prismata. So it'll be relatively easy, you know, like we can bang something out in an afternoon that mostly works and then spend a day or two refining it and tweaking it and making it nice. So that'll be a fun project. What else? Oh yes, there's a big event going on this weekend. Prismata is a sponsor of, where is it? I had this thing open. This big Age of Empires tournament is happening this weekend. It's basically the biggest AoE tournament I think that's ever happened. There's this massive league of teams from different countries, and this weekend is like the offline finals of a long tournament. So there's 3 teams that have all flown in to participate in this finals. I think it's happening in London, or it's somewhere in the UK, I believe. And we're one of the official sponsors of this. So if you watch the streams, they're on right now. They're on basically all weekend. You'll see Prismata commercials come up and our logo come up and stuff like that. And after the finals, they'll be hosting us. And we are going to be streaming all day Sunday, doing Prismata matches. We're going to commentate a bunch of the matches from the the RuinedShadows League, the Masters League, which I think is right now in the round of 16, moving toward round of 8, and has been a really exciting tournament. There's been some upsets, there's been some fantastic matches, and so we will be casting, I think, at least 3 matches, best of 5 matches, perhaps more. And that will be happening on the Lunark Studios Twitch channel. The start time, I don't know when it will start, because we're sort of going to start around the time that this Age of Empires stream is ending. They're playing a best of 9, which can be highly variable in its length. And Age of Empires matches are also the match length can vary a lot. You can have 10, 15-minute matches, or you can have matches that go like an hour, right? So they're playing between 5 and 9 matches that take 20 minutes to an hour, right? So it's we know when that starts. We know when that best of 9 starts, but we don't know when it ends. It will be anywhere from, I would say, 11 a.m. Eastern to, it could be 3 p.m. Eastern when we actually get to start casting, and that's on this Sunday. So less than 48 hours from now, we will be doing a big cast of tons of Prismata games, and we'll be hosted by, it should be for a few thousand people, maybe 10,000. The last time they did an event of this scale, they had something like 17,000 viewers at peak during the finals. And I think after the finals, they're doing a little show match of the new AoE HD, which Microsoft is sponsoring. And then after that, they're going to host us. So it could be a host of like 10,000 people that we're going to show off some Prismata games to. It's more likely going to be less because people fall out and trail off after. But it's nonetheless going to be a really cool and exciting Prismata event. I'm doing it with RuinedShadows as casting. He's getting some other casters, I think. We're all throwing this together sort of at the last minute because this sponsorship came together very rapidly. But yeah, it's exciting. So I hope to see you Sunday on the stream. I'll probably also do some streaming tonight, just fixing up a few bugs that have come about since we have deployed this new quickfire tutorial. So if you want to come hang out, say hi. But otherwise, I'll see you Sunday. And yeah, I am looking forward to the new updates. Should I mention that? Oh, there's this secret thing that I maybe should tease a little bit, which is that one of our developers has been working on a new game, and we're going to announce it soon. So we sort of have a timeline that says the next month and a half-ish, we'll be announcing a new game. I don't know when that will happen. I can't promise anything. And I'm just teasing you by like announcing an announcement, right? It's not even there, but that is happening, and it's really cool, and I'm excited for that too. So stick around. We'll have some fun this weekend, and I'll catch you all later. Have a good one.